my God, is that the Faces of the Future? We started off the project with some Ye stuff, some Ye music, things of that nature. So I had a question for y'all because I played like 3 different phases of him, and he just dropped his album right before we aired this. We started recording this episode. What phase of Kanye West do you like the best musically?
Dang, that's a lot. That's a big question, man.
Yeah.
I honestly like his early projects. You know, when he first came out. What was I forget what the album was
Like
called.
College
Dropout era. That was my era because that was like high school. That was like kind of when I was getting more into music, understanding like Kanye, and then like this whole new generation thing. It's I think we even had the conversation about like what hip hop is, like new hip hop, the whole generation. So, I actually like his new project that came out, especially with the Westy joint. Like that joint was fire. I mean, when we I think that was like last month that we actually watched the listening party.
Yeah, we were watching.
That was like the start of it. I was just like, yeah, this is gonna be tough. So it's gonna be interesting to see, especially after the Grammys happen, like who's gonna be like the top guy as far as like album of the year and like whatever other projects like they got coming out. So this will be interesting.
How about y'all?
Kind of like what Shronny said, the College Dropout era, and then transition into like Life of Pablo. I really enjoy that album because it gave like, as far as like his beats and stuff like that, it was a different sound. The way he was just coming on it, and then like Donda, he was kind of like really like sending the message, and into like Vultures. You know what I mean? You kind of get where he's at right now.
So y'all don't really like the 808 Heartbreaks, Beautiful Dark 2050 era, like in terms of like that.
Not even that. For real. If you're asking me, I like all of his phases.
No, for sure.
But like if you were saying like what stood out to me is the projects that I was saying. But I mean, I feel like from then to now, he's been just coasting, just trying to do things, and some things he missed. You know what I mean? Some things, I mean, but as an artist, everybody's not gonna get it.
Right.
You know what I mean? But like on his other shit, it's just kind of just like, you know, he's still in tune.
You like the fact that when he tries new stuff,
yeah,
even though he's not afraid to miss.
Because there's like some records, like, I mean, back then I probably was like, damn, this is not it. But like now I listen to that, this shit's hard as fuck.
Right.
You know what I mean? But like I can't say one specific song, but like that's numerous songs from Kanye. You know what I mean?
Nah, definitely.
Because I definitely had a phase where I was like, what the fuck is this nigga doing?
What phase do you think that was for you?
Probably when I wasn't really mature enough to like not mature, but like, you know, really didn't understand what he was trying to get at.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Sense.
But like now I go back and say, this is what he's saying. This is what he was trying to get at, or whatever the case may be. You know what I mean?
Nah, definitely. How about you, Moose? What was your I guess your favorite phase of Ye when it comes to like his musical?
I'm looking at that now because it's like it's kind of difficult to kind of just like pinpoint for me because it's like, if I say it's like my beautiful dark twisted fantasy era to like the Yeezus era, you can say that because that's when Kanye like officially reached like super like ultra super stardom, like world stardom, right? So it's great because that's when you kind of saw like it's like the equivalent of seeing LeBron at his athletic peak in Miami, right? In that sense, right? But it's like at that same time, it's like I can't discredit like not my beautiful dark twisted fantasy, the College Dropout and Late Registration, because it's like during that era, you now kind of have to look at it not from the standpoint of just his own music, but the music that he was producing, the features that he was on.
Right.
It's like, think about it, like College Dropout, and Late Registration. You have Overnight Celebrity Beat. You know what I'm saying? You have him producing for Common. In between that into the Graduation era. So it's like, when you really think about it, it's kind of difficult. You have him producing for John Legend's first album. It's like when you really sit down and think about it, it's difficult for me to like pinpoint. Like honestly sit down and pinpoint.
Go ahead.
Nah, and kind of just going off what he was saying, that kind of goes back to what I was saying about like not being mature and understanding what he actually did on the projects, like, you know, as far as like the beats who he brought on, just how he just created the whole aspect of his different projects from his early phases to where like now I'm starting to see, okay, damn, this nigga's doing this, or he's trying to say this through like or subliminally, whatever the case may be, just like you're saying, being really honestly mature with the music of what he's did.
Yeah, and I think that's what makes the music great.
Yeah.
Like what I was gonna say is that like when we talk about standing the test of time, you were like when College Dropout and stuff came out, you were a way different age than when Rocket was College Dropout. So it's like now he's older and he goes back and listens, like, oh, I get this, I understand this, that type of thing. Like you say, you might not have understood at that time. And then also, just to continue the conversation about just like the phases and the errors of Ye himself. It's just like I'm just thinking, and I'm asking, this is a question for the floor, like, did you guys think this was going to be his evolution in terms of sound and music? Because like when he first came out College Dropout, like his sound's way different than where we're at now when the Ultras album just dropped. You know what I'm saying? It's different sounds, it's different movements, that type of thing.
Oh well, yeah, bro. I mean, when we were just like, for example, like there's one something Jesus Walks With Me, like you could tell he was on a path to like really say something and like change a narrative or like change the needle point of just music or just a message as a whole. But we just didn't. Well, like I said, me in the beginning, I didn't know what he was saying. Like Jesus Walk was just a song to me. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, you didn't really understand
you see what I'm saying, bro?
You didn't understand the impact of Jesus Walks in the middle of like Jay-Z, Freeway.
That's what I'm saying, bro.
I get what you mean. No, that's fair. That's fair.
I can't even say like at that point in time when he dropped, I won't even say I completely understood it.
Yeah,
like in that era, you feel me? Now, like you said, you go back and listen to like, oh, what was going on at that time? Just not in just like his music career, but the industry as a whole, or what was happening at Rockefeller, or whatever it may be. Like, it makes a lot of difference. I mean, did y'all think? Because I used the LeBron example of like him hitting his peak in Miami, but like when he first came into the game, everybody saw the potential of what he could be. Like, do you think? He surpassed everybody's like expectations of what he could be, like based on like just seeing the documentary and how he's going around telling people I'm be X, Y, and Z until now.
Hell yeah.
I mean, 100%. Like even if you look at like, it's like even I think that Kanye with everything that he has done now, like everything that he has done, in my opinion, up until the Pablo era, to be honest with you, kind of showed that he kind of exceeded expectations for everybody. It's like, the story of Kanye has always been, I'm this, but I'm this guy, but I envision myself doing this as a whole package, but we're going to box you in to do this. Okay, then fine. I'm just going to go and do this somewhere else. And then everybody's like, oh shit, he really can do it. And then it's like, all right, cool. Now that you see that I can do this musically, I kind of like this fashion stuff. Let me go sit here and work with Louis Vuitton. Let me go sit here and work with Burberry. And you're just a rapper. Like, what do we want to know? And then it's like, now all of a sudden it's like, oh, cool. You see all the other rappers that y'all like or the musicians that y'all like do it. And it's like, oh, cool. Kanye was actually kind of the first person who did that. And you go to Nike. You know, you got to talk about Nike because we know what happened.
Right.
Now you see Drake and now you see Kai Cenat and everybody getting the deals. And it's like, again, you tried to box him in and all he's shown you is that he's exceeded the expectations to the point where now he brought in $1 billion to one of the top shoe retailers in the world.
Right.
And then literally once you decided to cut your ties with him, where have you guys been since?
Right.
You know what I mean?
They're still trying to get back.
Yeah, and so it's like I think that with that, to answer your question, yeah, I think he's exceeded all types of expectations for him because that's just who he's been. He's had to prove that.
Yeah.
Like the idea has always been proving the talent and showing the talent. Even with my beautiful dark twisted fantasy, it's like to this day, niggas is still looking at that like the ideal album for a majority of people. You know what I mean? When it comes to cohesiveness, when it comes to actually taste making, when it comes
visuals.
to visuals, the idea of like making a cohesive project. Like the only other person, in my opinion, who has had something close to that has been Donald Glover. But that's something for a different time. You know what I mean?
So he made. I mean, there was actually a clip that just came out that said they asked him who the GOAT of rap is, and Donald Glover literally said Kanye West. Like, which makes sense, like in terms of like what he's done and like I guess the trajectory that he's kind of followed, and like kind of just like to piggyback off of what Moose said when it just comes to just I guess the blueprint. Kanye's laid the blueprint, whether it's in hip hop, whether it's in fashion, whether it be musically, visuals, artistic, like the way people do things now is just a replication of what Ye has been doing.
I would say for people like Kanye West and Donald Glover, they are the example of what it means to not just call them a rapper or a music artist, but they're essentially like a modern day creative, an actual creative,
100%,
a Renaissance man. Like you can't sit here and talk to me about Donald Glover just being a rapper when Donald Glover won an award like 2 years after he graduated school.
Right.
You know what I mean? And then said, I want to be a rapper.
Yep.
And then won a Grammy and then still got nominated for a Grammy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And made My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy in his own way.
What did he get a Grammy for again?
Redbone.
Yeah.
Got
That's
nominated.
one of them ones right there.
Got nominated twice for my for Because the Internet. You know what I'm saying? And then it's like, then now you look at Atlanta. And then
I was about to say screenwriting is ridiculous.
You look at Swarm.
Yep.
And now Mr. and Mrs. Smith is a hit.
That's what I'm thinking about. Wasn't this whole project like one of the main soundtracks on like Get Out? Not just Redbone. It was like a bunch of different songs.
Yeah, there was a couple of them.
There's a bunch of them. Yeah.
And that's
that
why
movie was a hit.
Yeah.
And that's why it's like, for going back to like Kanye, it's like when you look at people like that, I think that just on how I like view things in my own POV, like I think that they did a lot of justice for a lot of people that genuinely look like us, that have a lot of different tastes, but couldn't express it in a world that was different from them. It's like Kanye West was growing up talking about insecurities and Jesus Walks and going to school in the midst of Jay-Z selling dope and making raps, in the midst of Jeezy, in the midst of Andre 3000 and them. You know what I mean?
Are you talking about from the standpoint of just being black, like in terms of like that type of thing, outside of the stereotypical like what people thought a rapper should be in a sense?
Outside, not even just what a rapper should be.
Like a black person should be.
A black person should be, or how we're looked at in media and the content that we talk about.
Yeah, because I was even to talk about that as well, just like how people kind of like stereotype us. Because me and Rocket talk about this all the time. Like I tell people, like when I was growing up, I was into like skateboarding and shit. And like people are like, what are you, a white boy? And I'm just like, what?
It's like black people can skate too, bro.
Yeah, like the top, like some of the top like sponsored skaters are black kids, bro.
Yeah.
That are in LA, New York, whatever it may be. And it's just like, why do you box us and don't think we can do this?
Yeah, especially like if you go to DC, you see black skaters all the time.
You go
everywhere.
They're everywhere. So it's just like that connotation or that stereotype is just wild to me.